Wayne and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHFC Magic 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wayne and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Shaw Week continues. The Cowboys continue to suck. Jeffrey Toobin's caught red-handed. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show. I'm verklempt this morning.
That's it.
Hey, good morning.
And we've made it back again.
We did.
Successfully.
I'm a little verklempt this morning. I don't know what allergies.
I'm just impressed by that word. A little verklempt.
Yeah, I think that was Mike
played.
Myers used to use that on Saturday Night Live way back when.
A little early for those big words, but well played.
Well, you got to get them out along with all the phlegm. Let's do this. Weather brought to you by Deerlam Feed Store. For all you need, stop by and see the folks at Deerlam Feed. They've got everything that you need right now, including stuff that'll kill all the army worms that I know are invading. And they've got your grass seed coming in. If it's not in, it will be very shortly, but all your rye seed to overseed your pastures for the winter, and make sure your cows have plenty of grass to eat all winter long. Deerlam Feed, the only place to stop by and get all your farm supply needs. Fencing materials, because you never know when your fence is going to give out. So stop on by Deerlam Feed and
get ready.
Talk the weather. Lacey will do that with you as well.
Outstanding.
74 right now, heading to a high of 90 today. We missed the slight chance of rain yesterday because there were a few pop-up showers. I don't think we're going to see any rain today, but slight chance creeps back into the forecast for the rest of the week. So
I think it rained for like 5 minutes yesterday that I left my stuff outside and went back inside for a minute. It was like, it's raining.
And it was a hard rain.
Everything was red and ruined my stuff, and then it stopped.
That's what happens.
Well played, weather.
So where do we start this morning?
Oh, where do we want to start this morning? Just almost draw a straw. There's so many different topics to jump right into.
Have you ever? Let's start a little bit with Joe Biden, because I just think it's peculiar how. Have you ever? Okay, let me phrase it this way. Have you ever seen? Well, let's start off with our good mornings. Let's see who's all checking in this morning, and then we'll get rolling. David Glass, first one in. Bobby Leister checking in. Chris Conrad, good morning to you. Chris Jansen, Judge Posey, Marvin Mickish, Lisa Poole, Bob Watley, Bobby Leister. We're up at 321 YouTubers this morning. That's like an increase of almost 30 from yesterday.
Bobby needs to do something for my Meet Victoria YouTube. Mine hasn't moved, Bobby.
Randy Langston asked if Carter did something different with his hair.
I don't have any witty jokes right there. I had a few, but I'm not going to play them.
No, this is our version. This is like Shark Week for us. It's Shaw Week.
I'll take it. Mark
Edgell checking in. Patrick Strauss, good morning to you. H.R. Mallory, Justin Glass, Robin Moore Knipling, Matt Boucher, good morning, everybody. So have you ever seen, or can you remember a time when a candidate 3 weeks out from election day just decides to announce to everybody that he's going to hide for a few days? Have you ever seen somebody run?
I don't think I've ever seen anything like this 2020 election, honestly. And
it's kind of fitting with the year, isn't it?
It really is, except for the fact that it's scary to me. The links that we're seeing people go through to what I feel is manipulate this election. All while they're pointing at Trump, saying him and the Russians are doing it. To see. And the sad thing is most of this was predicted. When the debates were announced, everybody was like, "Yeah, right." And then we got one canceled, and then now they're adding mute buttons and changing formats and changing the topics, and weird times.
Very. But is this, and this is a serious question, especially for those on the left who are listening, and give us a call, 575-9509, because I know you listen. You don't admit it to anybody, but I know you listen.
Would you?
Yes.
No, I'm joking.
I do it every morning. Some watch. They like to hide. They don't announce their presence. But you now have a candidate who is embroiled in a huge scandal involving his son, was selling favors and access to the vice president at the time. And when the going gets tough, the old saying is the tough get going. What does Joe Biden do? He goes, hides in his basement. Is this who you want as president? Because this tells me that if things get tough for the U.S., Biden's going to be nowhere to be found.
But do you think the strategy is really for him to be up front and be a leader, or to get through the election, hopefully win, their side talking, hopefully win, and then come, and I don't want to even say it wrong because you get in trouble. Kamala
Harris.
Kamala Harris come in and use that 25th Amendment thing and jump right in there. Because I don't see.
Well, it is their strategy, but is that what American people want? Is that who the voters want in their leader? Is somebody who hides when the going gets tough, pulls an ostrich and sticks his head in the sand?
No, I don't think so at all. But with this thing that's hanging out in the air over him, this is a big one to me. Like, for all the conspiracies over the last 3 or 4 years, this is the first one that's got some evidence behind it. It has, a lot of more than speculation and Russian. Well, it's all about Russian all of a sudden, but still, this one has something to it. And I'm afraid if he starts going out and getting asked questions, he could possibly, be done over this. But I don't think so.
Well, when he was asked a question the other day, I mean, he had a rally that had 5 cars show up or something. I mean, it was tragic.
And the giant screen in the back with the letters on it for him.
And they showed this. I mean, maybe this is why Joe Biden walks off planes and waves to people that aren't there, because nobody's there for anything that he does.
But and that's what just everything feels weird right now. Everything feels weird. He's talking to 6 people in an audience, yet we're told he's winning by the biggest margins anybody's ever won by.
Yet a rally in Victoria where Trump isn't even showing up has 300 vehicles and probably 1,000 or more people. Yet Joe Biden is actually there, and they get 5 or 10 people to show up. Kamala Harris runs an event, and 5 people show up.
Yep.
There are impromptu Trump parades all across the country where Trump isn't even showing up, and thousands of people.
But every headline is how bad he's doing. The election's already over. And anything to do with this Biden stuff, it has nothing to do with him. It's all the Russians got to Giuliani. That's the story.
Yeah.
The Russians and Giuliani, not the Biden stuff.
So which is the reality? The polls, which we know are wrong in 2016, or is somebody just going around placing a whole bunch of Donald Trump signs on people's properties to give the illusion that Donald Trump is as popular with the American public as he would appear to be? Because something's not figuring. I can't quite make my head wrap around what you see when you drive around, and I don't use signs as I guess a guidepost for voting, but there just aren't and it's really no surprise in Victoria, to be honest. You don't see the Biden signs. You see a ton of Trump signs, but even around the country, from people that I know, it's the same thing. There's a whole bunch of Trump signs and comparatively very few Biden signs. Yet Trump's losing in all the polls. Those two don't correlate to me.
No, they don't. And but we have lost the last 3 popular votes. That's, and this one we're seeing all these record numbers and stuff. And what I fear is we will see an increased Republican turnout, but man, I just don't know. Like this is just one of the most, I know I haven't voted in 6 million elections, but this one has my attention. I mean, this is for all the marbles, as they say.
Jeremy Pena hits the nail on the head. All the dead people voting for Biden can't show up to his rallies. You got a point there. You got a point there. Steve Kidder, a little more serious note, says Republican voter registration is up. That's another tell. Polls are just flavor of the minute.
I'm curious to see, because I know there's
Randy
a lot.
Langston says he ran out of signs and gas, so he couldn't get them all out.
There you go. Well, I like the sign thing, for example. I won't put a sign up at my house just because I don't want some knucklehead to go by and steal my sign or throw something in my house, or, that could lead to a potential confrontation I just don't feel like having. And so I don't put a sign up in my house, and I know which way I'm voting.
I did have a sign stolen. I've got candidate signs on a piece of property that I have, and the only sign that went missing,
Trump sign.
Trump sign.
I've seen a lot of those on Facebook around people's signs stolen, and I'd like to see the ratio of Trump signs stolen to Biden signs stolen.
But what's interesting is even candidates for other offices that don't have that profile on both sides are seeing their signs stolen. And that to me is just, I don't recall the rash of people complaining about their signs being stolen like this time around. I mean, it makes no sense.
Because I don't think people and neighbors villainized each other the way we do now. It's not that you and I disagree politically. It's you must be evil and you must be hateful and therefore, punch a Nazi or whatever the crap is. And, we're just getting to where we don't respect each other's views anymore. We think each other is responsible for everything. And so let's just tear it all down.
Yeah, no, and I'm going to characterize a little bit here, generalize, but it seems those who preach tolerance are the least tolerant of those with a view that doesn't agree with them.
I would agree.
Typically the Democrats.
But what do you do about it? When you
nothing, you're not going to change your mind.
You've got social media blackout, you've got media blackout, people are dug in on positions, truth doesn't find its way to the air and if it does, the truth is immediately attacked as a Russian tactic. And I say the truth, I don't know if it's the truth yet, but we're not even getting the chance to find out because it's being censored from us.
Being censored, but I think one thing that leads me to believe there's something to it, nobody has denied the Hunter Biden emails as being fake. Nobody has denied any of the accusations that he was peddling access to his dad as vice president. I mean, there's no denials on any of this stuff.
Well, what's curious to me is, I had to get a secret security clearance when I was in, and I know what I had to do to get that. And then there's upgrades to secure top secret, all these other things. How is he going to pass even a security clearance is what I'm curious about, because I feel even your basic ones for basic military people that they have to pass, they wouldn't be able to with this amount of heat on them. And he's going for president. And that's what I don't understand is if you can't pass a basic, entry level into that, how are you going to be president? If you've got all these things out on the table, I just don't understand.
Bob Wiley says something fishy about the laptops. Don't think a rich crackhead would gift wrap his computer.
Tiffany said the same thing. She wondered why would he just leave this laptop, and and I guess my rebuttal is A, I don't know, but B, totally speculating is when you've got, it looks like him, millions or billions of dollars, a bad drug habit. I could see you taking something somewhere and forgetting about it or move. I bet
even knowing what's on it.
I bet you that guy's got 45 laptops, and I doubt he's got one that he takes around like normal people do and all of that. And because I think they dropped off 3 and picked up 2 or something. I don't recall exactly what it was.
Randy Langston says his lawyer asked for the laptop back from the repairman. That's golden.
Yeah, and all that stuff is just ignored. And what are we supposed to do with that as the public? Just believe it's all Russia,
Yeah. Well, and I don't know.
And that's, I'd like to hear, I've asked a few of my left-leaning friends on it, and it's just fake news. They won't discuss it at all because I'd like some genuine thought into it. Like, what does this mean to you? Because I try to be fair on the good Trump, bad Trump. If he screws up, nail him on it, but praise him if he does well. And so I asked the same of the other side of the aisle, can you give me anything? And usually it's,
Well, it's interesting that they're now on the fake news side of the aisle, though, right?
Right. Suddenly it's not. Yeah. I don't.
And the only response you get, well, Hunter Biden's not running for office. True enough, and a fair point. But if he was selling access to his dad, and now stories are circulating that this actually may have been leaked by China because China was holding the pressure on Joe Biden with the 1.5 billion to his son, all the stuff that they had on his son. Then it makes you wonder what was going to happen during a Biden presidency with China.
Yeah, good Lord. There's so many different holes we could go down on this thing because it's just, but yet, again, the Biden story to me is secondary to the censorship of it. And that is a scarier, I expect politicians to be crooked. I expect politicians to take bribes and
So
get rich.
cynical.
But history shows us that, we discussed it yesterday. Those guys don't make a ton and they all come home millionaires, but I expect that from them. But I also expect the media to tell me when they catch them red-handed and to do that and to just completely ignore it for an election. I don't see how we come back from that. How do they ever get what little bit of credibility they had left back?
Steve Kerr says the FBI got the laptop, but the repairman kept a copy of the hard drive.
I think that repairman knew what he was sitting on before he got rid of it.
Insurance for sure that if he ever ended up dead.
But
But you know what, Stephen? Is that any different than the old, photo lab in the mall when, and I had friends that worked there, when there were some pictures that came in, there was a copy made of those pictures and stuck in a binder.
Hot girl that might have
showed too much when selfies had to be developed.
I believe it. But what, if the story is true and he did turn that into the FBI, a year ago or whatever it was, what happened? Where did that go? And
why'd they sit on it? It just shows you how political the offices of the FBI have become or have been. I don't know that they've become. I think they've been that way going back to J. Edgar Hoover, obviously. And nothing's changed. This is supposed to be our top law enforcement agency in the country. And I don't knock the guys on the streets or the girls in the streets doing the job and the foot soldiers. This is embedded above. And and to me, this is part of the swamp that the president said he was going to go drain.
No, I think that's exactly the problem. I think this morning you saw that, the former Navy SEAL McRaven or whatever his name was from the Bin Laden stuff, or the commander then, he made sure he said all the conservative talking points. I'm a, Second Amendment loving, conservatives free, blah, 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 blah. But I'm endorsing Biden. And I'm, and I've had a few of my friends, why would he do that? Well, a good analogy is like the schools here. The teachers are freaking amazing. They're out there just doing awesome things. But the school board a lot of times seems to be out of touch. And I would say the military, in my humble opinion, is a lot the same way. Is the foot soldiers, the guys to your left, to your right, were amazing. But as you started getting higher and higher and higher into the command, it became less about merit and more about being a yes man or following the leadership of the guy ahead of you. And they would get the team that they wanted. And you get to those holdovers of political people versus the foot soldiers that are out there kicking the doors down. So I think that's what a lot of the problem is you just have bureaucrats in positions of political power.
If you lose touch with the pavement, you can call Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. Give Allen's a call for all your towing and wrecker service needs. The only ones we call, the only ones you should call as well, 578-6300.
That's a good one.
The only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer as part of the VCS Communications empire. Just one of the many VCS companies. If you need anything from the new iPhone 12 to accessories to stocking stuffers, Christmas is just around the corner, folks.
Radios to stay in touch with your loved ones if phones go down.
Then stop by the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer right there on Kerr Boulevard. They have discounts for first responders. They have other discount plans available as well. So stop by, check them out for all your communication needs. It's the VCS companies. Chesnick Furniture Company, right there at 116 West Swan Lane. They've been in Victoria and open for 100 years. And to pass the celebratory savings on to you, Bobby Leon has said 50% off all furniture at Chesnick as they celebrate their 100th anniversary or 100th birthday, which however you want to describe it.
100 years, 50% off. That's a sell.
Think about how many businesses have come and gone in 100 years. And Bobby can still say, hey, probably we've been here since
Really is amazing
1920,
when you think about it.
and we're still here in 2020.
That's a legacy.
And you think of the technology changes, the way shoppers and buyers have changed the way they do business, and Chesnick's has been able to adapt and stay relevant and provide you great product, quality furniture at a great price with great service. I think that's what it boils down to. You walk in there and they treat you like, I don't want to say family because that gets a little hairy sometimes, but they treat you with respect and the way you want to be treated.
They treat people good enough to stay open 100 years.
Exactly. They don't ignore you when you walk in the door.
That is true.
And Razor IT Solutions, John Paul Hull. If he can help us get to 300 YouTubers, he can help you figure out the computer side of your business.
Help me, John Paul. I need you, brother.
So reach out to Razor IT Solutions. Where do we go next? Because this is a weird story, not connected to Biden, but definitely on the left of the Democrats in the Anthony Weiner vein. Pardon all the puns. But weird story broke yesterday of Jeffrey Toobin on a Zoom call with his New Yorker.
Sorry, that one got me. That was
a straight face.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It was actually unintended.
Yeah, there was like 3 of them in there. Sorry,
but
don't know why that's so funny in a second.
If I would have called it in an Anthony Weiner main vein, then it might have been a little more deliberate.
Lord.
Yeah,
good.
Didn't
Lord.
though. But Jeffrey Toobin on a Zoom call has one going with the New Yorker and the editorial board there, and they were doing some, election coverage strategy plan, which I get could probably be pretty boring. But apparently he's got something else going on over here. And under the table, he's got something else really going on. And the editor of the New Yorker calls him to tell him, hey, what are you doing? And somehow the video from the Zoom ends up front and center on his Johnson. And panic ensues, and Toobin's on a leave of absence, and now he's getting counseling, and he apologizes to everybody and their dog for the embarrassment he's caused them. I'd be really worried about his dog.
Does the counseling fix that? I don't want to touch that one either. That's why I hate that Zoom stuff. I just know I'm destined to one of these days I'm going to turn it on and there's somebody's junk right in my face on there, and yeah, I don't know. I don't like Zoom stuff. There's been quite a few of those things.
But who does this beside the obvious answer, Anthony? I mean, Jeffrey Toobin. But here is the CNN legal analyst, their chief legal analyst. He's the New Yorker's legal columnist.
Yeah, I don't know. You would think with all the different stuff.
And somehow he's going to be the victim here.
Well, yeah, Trump did it. I haven't figured out how yet, or the Russians, hacked into his Zoom there and did it. But no, I don't understand these days why anybody does that kind of stuff, because everybody's got a backup somewhere or something. Everybody's videos are getting put out. You couldn't wait 15 more minutes for the Zoom call to end? Yeah, I don't know.
And go take care of business somewhere else, or at least, leave the meeting. And
there's got to be some. I mean, what? I don't know.
But then, like, if we set up, we're not on Zoom, but we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook. For us to show something other than what's on the screen at this moment, we have to physically move the camera.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can't see that we're not wearing pants right now.
Well, no, exactly.
But if they came down, we would have to move the camera for them to see that. That's your point.
That's my point. He was trying to show what he was doing to somebody, and it turned out he was showing it to the wrong somebodies.
He wasn't talking to Hunter Biden, was he?
Well, I don't know. We don't know where it was supposed to go. It just wasn't supposed to go back to the crowd at the New Yorker, apparently.
Yeah, and crazy thing is that'll be buried right along with everything else, and we probably needed the comedic relief for that one.
Probably. Chris Conrad says he was on a Russian dating site, so it clearly was the Russians' fault.
There you go. Knew that one was coming. Did you see that the guy?
Steve Kidder says, I don't have to listen to that jerk for a month. Emphasis on the jerk.
Oh, golly, Steve, you made me forget what I was going to say right there.
But is it in? What I found really interesting, I mean, I'd heard the name, kind of hear him on CNN. Everyone's never looked at, but boy, doesn't he have a striking resemblance to Harvey Weinstein?
He does kind of look like him. Yeah, but 6 weeks here, we'll be back, and it'll be like this never happened. And did you hear the other guy, the guy that was supposed to be the moderator for the second debate? He was hacked, and then turns out he wasn't hacked.
He wasn't hacked. He was
just got caught red-handed.
Got caught
reaching out to an anti-Trump guy for advice for the debate.
To Scaramucci for debate advice, I don't know exactly what role Scaramucci was playing in it, but supposedly, again, didn't know enough how to send a direct message via Twitter, so put it all out on Twitter for everybody to see.
Well, the debate commission, my understanding, they came out afterwards and defended him, said he was hacked and all that, and still haven't gone back on he admitted he wasn't hacked, but they're still dug in on their position and just haven't moved it. And so
BJ Nelson asks, are you saying all prayers look the same? No, I just noticed there was a striking resemblance between the two of them.
Yeah, those two, I think we'll just move on from that one.
I wonder if Toobin's name was ever in the Jeffrey Epstein flight logs.
What's become of that? Anything new? Have you heard?
Well, she hasn't killed herself yet, so she's still apparently in.
Have you heard?
Well, here's why that hasn't happened. They're saying she's being held on Rikers Island, but there's actually flight logs and such showing that she's actually probably being held somewhere else
for safety
reasons. And it could be a what's the word I'm looking for? A certain military prison.
Guantanamo.
Yes.
Guantanamo. Do you think anything will ever come of that?
Yes, but not yet.
Way down the road.
Yeah, I think they're getting through this election cycle first, because I think there's probably some names that would be heavily damaged between now and election day if evidence was released.
Do you think there's going to be more Biden stuff dropped? Because my theory is they're going to play some of their smaller cards right now, get everybody to rush out, make a statement, and then, that's your statement, that's what you're standing by, and then drop the next piece of evidence that kind of destroys whatever statement was put out.
Might be what they were hoping. I would think there's more. If all this information is legitimate, and again, I don't care about Hunter Biden and his crack pipe and his videos of doing that stuff, whatever. The guy's got some demons. I would imagine being Joe Biden's kid would be problematic enough. But the other stuff that has surfaced is troubling.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that nobody is even looking into the allegations that Hunter Biden repeatedly in emails to numerous people wasn't just alluding to, was claiming or accusing his dad of taking half of his money.
Do you think this is the game that they all play up there? And, kind of like the unspoken thing that everybody's in on, and then what this starts getting exposed. So instead of him going down, they all kind of rally and everybody acts like they don't know what's going on. And because it's more than just Biden doing it, it's a whole bunch of those people and a whole bunch of various positions getting a whole bunch of bags of money.
It does explain a little bit why they have so much Trump derangement syndrome from the minute he started running, and it's ramped up to now, because unlike everybody else that's basically gone to the White House, he already had billions of dollars of net worth. Whether or not it's real cash, debatable.
Right.
But his net worth and his lifestyle was already at a point far beyond what the average presidential candidate has, and is way beyond what the average ex-president has upon leaving, but certainly didn't have prior to getting there.
Right.
He's already reached that status that they all try to get to. And I think that scared him more than anything, was gee, this guy really doesn't have anything to gain by being here, and he could knock down the whole house of cards.
Yeah, he could wreck our whole thing over here. Yeah, that's why, I think that's so much of it with Trump is they don't care what his politics are. They don't care about his stupid tweets. They don't care about anything. They care about what he's doing to what they've built so good on taxpayers' backs up there in Washington. And so, yeah, that's what I kind of suspect as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. They, they loved Donald Trump when he was giving them campaign donations and donating to their charities.
Mm-hmm.
And the minute he decided that he was going to run for president as a Republican, I mean, you could see the switch flip on the left, and it's been evident that their hatred for a man that they loved 30 seconds before is just can't quite figure it out.
It's pretty wild. How many people locally do we have running in this election that you can think? I know we have the school board election with Baldwin and Streeter there. How many can you think?
And you've got to meet the candidate.
Yes.
Segment tomorrow with
tomorrow
Brett
evening.
Baldwin, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll be we're gonna play off of you a little bit tomorrow and kind of tag team things. And yes, Brett Baldwin's gonna join us tomorrow. He's gonna sit down for 45 minutes to an hour. We're gonna get a little history about him, hear what his thoughts are and what he feels is important for VISD, school board, etc. And we'll have it open. It'll be a live deal on our YouTube with not as many subscribers as you, but it'll be on our YouTube, our Facebook, and we are taking questions from the audience. So if you guys,
I can't take credit for that because I don't know how they get there. I honestly don't.
Well, I'm hoping this your amazing audience will come through my page like they did yours and lift it up. But no, we'll be on there and I almost thought about calling you to see if you wanted to do it, but I figure we'll save it for the next one. We moderate it. The next debate we moderate, and I think we could do better than those other people. We should call Trump and Biden. If
I agree. Although I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. I might be so enamored in the crap show that's going on when they start getting at each other, the rules might disappear. But my questions would be better.
I agree.
And I don't think I'd be as argumentative to either candidate as the moderators have been through the first debate and the town hall. The one town hall that the president was in, not the town hall that Joe Biden was in, because George Stephanopoulos, I don't think asked him one tough question.
No, but I'll tell you, this is a little bit cheesy, but I think probably my favorite moment through all these debates and town halls and all that was when that lady stood up and told Trump he had a nice smile or something, and you could tell it just caught him totally off guard. And then when he smiled and she looked at him, she's like, "Oh, you're so handsome," or something. He turned you could see under his orange, he turned all red, and I felt like that was a genuine moment through all of the ugly, through all of the, yes, she was a Trump fan, yes, she was whatever, but I felt like in that one moment of just all the name calling, all the ugliness, she threw him a compliment, and I felt like it hit him, and it was one of the real genuine moments that I've seen lately where I could, like I said, even under his orange, I could see him blushing and kind of turning red, and I felt like that was just a good, needed moment. And of course, she got destroyed for it, and I saw all these negative things about her. But that was one of my, as cheesy as it was, that was one of my favorite things through this whole deal was just that little moment of kindness, and to see him genuinely take that and blush. And I thought it was kind of cool.
You know what would be what I think the Trump campaign has missed an opportunity is going back to all of his appearances on David Letterman, talk shows like that back in the 80s and 90s. And Letterman asked him, "You ever thought about running for president?" Because they asked him a lot of his thoughts on the country. And boy, they haven't changed in 30, 40 years. He had better hair and he wasn't as orange, which sometimes makes you wonder.
I think he's jacking with people sometimes. Like, put a little extra layer on. It'll drive him nuts. Just give me a little extra.
But his views on certain policies, his vision for this country has not changed. It's been steadfast for 40 years, 30 years. And at that point, he was most likely a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he hasn't changed except for his political party and his political affiliation, and that flipped a switch in the Never Trumpers and the
The craziest thing
and the
is right
Trump
now, I
derangement
think,
syndrome, folks.
despite his tweets and personality, on paper, he's one of the most conservative presidents we've ever had as far as policy going down, and one of the most successful ones as well, which is kind of ironic when you look at his public personality and then his actual policy, what he's done, and he's been pretty phenomenal policy-wise.
Let's take our next break and let's get into something on his policy before we move into something I want to talk about with you and a great venture you've got going on.
All right.
But a great venture going on is the Atzenhofer dealerships. Since 1926, almost as long when Bobby Leon's grandfather needed furniture to be delivered and trucks to deliver it in, he had nowhere to go. So Atzenhofer said, you know what? I can sell you that truck. Boom, the Atzenhofer dealership was born. That's fake news. I just made that up.
Sounded good to me.
But the Atzenhofer dealers have been here since 1926. Started selling Chevrolets. A few years ago, they added Cadillac. They brought Mazda, Mitsubishi into the fold. They can sell any make and model of pre-owned vehicle. If they don't have it on the lot, they'll go get it for you in exactly the configuration you want, whether it's a brand new vehicle or pre-owned. They'll go that extra mile, provide you the service that you want, not just during the sale, but after the sale as well. They can service all makes and models. They've got a great service department, great body shop. Atzenhofer, right there on Navarro across from Veracruz, which you can't go to Caldo Wednesday this week, but Atzenhofer is right there, and they've been in Victoria since 1926, and they're not going anywhere, folks.
And if your garage is too junky to park your car in there because you hadn't been cleaning it and all that, you can always call White Trash Services and have them come and get all that junk out of your life so you can park that new car in the garage.
550-1826, because you don't want to leave a car out in the elements.
Do not.
Not during the fall when the leaves are falling.
Birds or
Dove are
dropping stuff on you.
flying. Yeah. Give White Trash a call. They can provide just a weekly curbside collection in the county. They can provide you a larger dumpster that they can pick up weekly. Or if you have a special project or you're cleaning out junk, they can drop off a rolled off dumpster.
Yep, they'll work with you to make
any
it happen.
size you need to accommodate your trash collection needs.
Yep, they'll be helping me out this week.
Good. White Trash gets it done. And don't forget Uncle Mutt's dining room now open. The drive-thru remains open. They'll open up about 11 o'clock this morning. They're open until 8 o'clock in the evening. So if you want brunch, you could be there right at 11. If you want lunch, you could be there 11:30-ish. And if you want a mid-afternoon snack or dinner, or as we refer to it sometimes in our house, if we miss lunch and have an early supper, it's lupper. You can have that too at Uncle Mutt's. Open around 11, open till 8. All the great barbecue, brisket, chicken, sausage, ribs, turkey. They had turkey and dressing on Sunday. So
I like turkey and dressing a lot.
Keep an eye on the board. Daily specials all the time. Awesome food. Love it. So real quickly, Cowboys laid an egg yesterday on Monday Night Football. Terrible game. I don't even know that I can blame Andy Dalton. When I turned it off, his numbers, yards-wise, was terrible. Completion percentage-wise, I think like 85%. I think he was 11 of 15 or something like that. But it was apparent he was checking down because nobody was open.
Second, Dalton's the quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second backup. Second quarter had a wide open Galloway. Ball was a little high. Galloway should have caught it. Would have been a touchdown. Would have closed the gap at the end of the second quarter. Galloway couldn't pull it in. And I think they lose like 38-10 or something. I don't even know what the final score was. I turned it off at 20-3. I believe 2-4. Terrible. Still, I think leading the division, which tells you all you need to know. But Ezekiel Elliott put up a couple put down a couple of fumbles. Arizona turned him into points. Kyler Murray had a rough start, but got going. Had a nice bomb to the Hicks kid, 80-yarder that he caught right off the end of his fingertips. Nice. Didn't have to break stride.
Nice.
He could have stopped. The Hicks kid could have stopped. I think that's his name. Caught the ball and then took off running, and the guy who was supposed to be covering him still wouldn't have been there. He was that far back.
Those are the fun ones.
Terrible game. Cowboys are bad. There's no sugarcoating it. I've said it. I'm revising my prediction. I was optimistic at 8-8. I don't think they're even going to get to 6-10.
Wow. Go Cowboys.
But their only two wins are against teams that up until this past weekend were winless. And Atlanta and the Giants managed to get wins. So, oh man, just ugly, ugly football. But offensive line injuries and struggles continue, and you can't fault that. Most teams don't have starter quality offensive linemen 2 and 3 rows deep, but their defense is porous. I mean, they've given up 30-plus points every game.
Jeez. And you don't do that and win many.
No. Maybe if you were playing college football.
Yeah, a little more of a shootout there.
But not in the NFL. And the offense couldn't get it going yesterday. Optimistic early that Ezekiel Elliott was going to have a good game because he was like 4 carries for almost 20 yards, and then he started fumbling.
He was the one that did the pouting in Mexico, right? Last time Brent was there, that they were partying together.
Yeah, I think that was a Photoshop.
Something like that.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'd just like to see the days where everybody just plays football. You don't hear about the paid salary disputes and the holdouts and all that. Just go play ball. Like,
yeah, back to the days when the owners held all the chips and said, here's what we're paying you, and you can't go anywhere else. Yeah.
But they played, and it was a whole, I don't know. It just, now I just don't care for it anymore. I've lost the interest in it. What else? Go ahead.
Cowboys being 6-10 would be a miracle.
Yeah, but I'll say this: people are still loyal to them. They're still loyal to them.
I watched 3/4 of it. I mean, it's just.
Well, in my heart, I mean that's my team because my grandpa. It's kind of a family thing. But I just haven't watched football in years anymore. And so I hang out with the family on Sundays now.
I watch the Cowboys. I don't watch the games that don't interest me like I used to in the NFL. I don't watch the games that don't interest me in Major League Baseball as much anymore, and I'm still a huge sports fan. I'll put a hockey game on.
I wonder what the sales like DirecTV, that NFL season pass and stuff like that. I wonder what kind of numbers they're seeing off of things like that. If those have nose bombed or if they're still kind of the same or where they're at.
I mean, it got so bad last night. I was longing for the 7 and 8 Landry years. Right before they went 3-13, and then Jerry Jones bought them and kicked them out of there. Because I was looking back, because I always, in my mind, the catch. Dwight Clark in the end zone, Montana to Clark to beat the Cowboys, Everson Walls looking lost. He'd fit right into the – actually, he'd probably be a better person in the Cowboys secondary now than what the Cowboys have in their secondary.
Says a lot.
But I always pictured 81 was sort of the time that the Cowboys downslide began. But then I started looking back at their history, and really it was much later than that. They were in the NFC Championship game, I think, in 83 or 84. So their downslide didn't really hit till 87, 88, when I think they had back-to-back 3-13 years or something like that. They had a couple of years right around 500. And then the first year under Jimmy Johnson when they went 1-15, that was really the down. That was the bottom for the Cowboys. But the Landry years really didn't hit that cliff until the last 2 years of Tom Landry's coaching career. So my memory was not as good as I thought it was, but
still pretty good.
So I had to look back at some of that stuff. But seeing a lot of the names that played back then, Robert Newhouse, guys like that, Tony Hill, was pretty cool going down memory lane. Took me back to my Roger Staubach poster in the bedroom and my Tony Dorsett
I like
mesh
Tony
jersey.
Dorsett, sitting with my grandpa, watching Tony Dorsett play, and that's my Cowboys memories. Yeah. Mainly my grandpa, and he had a big recliner with his Cowboys blanket on that he sat there. And he was a member of their Dallas Cowboys little magazine or whatever that he got, and a lot of that is just it's sentimental, and it's not so much the Cowboys, it's my grandpa, and just missing him when I see the Cowboys. Those two go together.
And we went up to the Star in Frisco and caught, a lot of names that were pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool. Who we got?
I don't know. We're about to find out. Wade and Carter, good morning. JP, how are you?
My man. You saved me again, brother. Thank you. But you did. man, I can understand because you always feel like I feel like a child standing next to Brent sometimes because he's a big fella standing there. So I empathize with you there, and I know exactly what you speak of, my friend.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting storyline, especially for Aggies who have ties. I think it obviously more endearing. I think the interesting storyline was the flyer that the Cardinals took on Cliff Kingsbury as a coach when he couldn't get anything done in college. But he's certainly managed to get the best out of Kyler Murray. I mean, Kyler Murray gives all shorter quarterbacks hope because he's showing. Well, okay, I didn't want to go that far. But all anyone has to do is look at, Barney Rubble and Betty to give short people hope.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, when he scored that touchdown on the bootleg, that kind of got his game back on track. Up until then, he was struggling a little bit, but in that drive, he scrambled for a first down, then he scored the touchdown, and then Kyler Murray kind of found his groove, and the Cowboys didn't have an answer after that. I knew I forgot something this morning.
Now, hey, I'm hearing you there. Hey, I'm going to jump in a second first in covers because our power source is going down. But JP, on a different note, man, I will be reaching out to get your services because I need you to get my page and stuff where their page is. So, and show me how to wear the headphones.
Hey, I got one. What was I going to do? I had something where I was plug it in, but now it's
gone. Thought too, man.
Yeah. J-Dub says Murray only completed 9 passes. Yeah, but when one of them goes for 8, when one of them is an 80-yard backbreaker, do you need to complete anymore? Yeah. I mean, Anyway, thanks, JP. Appreciate the call. Thanks.
Buddy. I like old JP.
There we go. That thing needs to be better. That needs to be right there instead of having to look for it.
His point, though, is very, this is a tiny little spot, and Brent's a bigger dude. And when I'm there, I find myself a lot of times kind of doing the lean away and he's just a big guy, and this is a tiny little spot you guys got.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of room here.
No, but I don't know. It's fun. And that made me laugh, though, because I can see exactly what JP talks about, Yeah. It's part of the fun.
Well, we don't have to have this thing looking down. Even when Brent's here, he's got 4 or 5 inches on me. So
yeah, no, it's a good time. Yeah. It's a good time.
Speaking of little rooms, I can tell you who can transform a little room into an awesome looking venue for your wedding.
Would you be speaking of Gray Barn Design?
I would be speaking of the Gray Barn. Give Cheryl a call, 920-6803. Check out the Gray Barn on Facebook if you want to see a portfolio of all her great work. fabulous job she does in transforming venues into the backdrop of what become memorable events. But
don't let the stress overtake you.
no,
Just call her.
and I'll be honest. I've been to weddings and events when people do it themselves, and I've been to weddings and events when Cheryl does it. And there's no comparison, and the peace of mind is worth the cost. And she's a lot more reasonable than you might think as well. So give Cheryl a call, 920-6803. Wentz Services for all your electrical needs, whether it's simple installation, whether you're rewiring an old remodel on an old home, whether you want a new generator to back up your house when the power goes out. They can do it all. You need solar power to power a well out in the middle of your cow pasture. They can do that for you as well. So give the folks at Wentz Services a call for all your electrical service needs. They've done a lot of work for me, and I appreciate it. And great job. I'm not a paid spokesman. They do a great job. They did work for me when they weren't part of.
If you don't have a generator and stuff, you better get one.
Yeah. And USA Concrete Coatings, give Charlie a call, 578-HOME. You can transform any concrete surface into something that is slip resistant, antimicrobial, antibacterial. It won't chip, won't peel, fade resistant. And the best part is they won't disrupt your life. If anybody has gone through any sort of remodels, construction of decks, things like that can take forever. One day, the weather cooperates. Charlie and his crew can get in there and get it done in one day.
It's outstanding.
And they'll transform the look of your patio, your deck, whatever. Give USA Concrete Coatings a call. So I want to switch gears here a little bit because you've got a great little, and I only refer to it as little from the type of format, not the reach and the scope, and I know the popularity, but it's a little vignette of Victoria called Meet Victoria. And you do a great job with this, and you've introduced us to some amazing folks in Victoria, some amazing landmarks and features that people may not know were around. So tell everybody a little bit about Meet Victoria, because I think it's a great show.
Well, thank you. We've been very blessed. We've done 15 episodes already. Been very lucky with it. Steve Gonzalez is my producer and stuff, and he does an amazing job. And
15, that's, to put that in perspective, that's an entire TV show's season right there.
Yes, sir. And we're not done yet with season one. We still got, we're waiting until after the election, getting a few. We're filming tomorrow. That's why I got to dip out early. But we've got an exciting season 2 already in the works, but we're going to wrap up season 1 with a few big episodes coming out. And, you know, the concept is it's not a commercial. It's not anything like that. Is we wanted to show the heartbeat of this city. We wanted to show some of the amazing stories and locations that people may or may not know of, you know, escape rooms and cryo tanks and restaurants and the fire department. Even, you know, they were so kind. They let me come out and rappel with them and put out a car fire.
That was
it was fun. That was a cool, you know, and you also get an insight into what these guys and ladies go through, because one of the ladies whooped my butt and trying to race her to put on her clothes, and man, they had to wear, that sounded bad, put on their firefighting gear, and they have so much of it, you know, and it's so much they go through. But
on the evening news, Caleb Shaw wears women's clothes.
Yeah, there's the headline. But no, we've been very blessed, and the community's been so kind as to welcome us in, and it's been neat. It's gone from me calling people, hey, can I come over and record this on YouTube? Now people are calling and say, hey, can we come on your show? And you know, and it's a great effort. We have a new segment that we're going to be rolling out called Meet Your. And right now, because in Victoria we have a new sheriff, a new DA, a new police chief coming, a new, you know, all these different positions in town. And so we're going to start with Constance over there. She's been so kind to us, and right after the election we're going to get with her and we're going to do Meet Your, in this case, district attorney, and give some insight into the office and kind of what does a DA do, what does it look like in there, and then go so with the sheriff and the police department, and you know, just try to again put a heartbeat and a face to some of the stuff in Victoria, and support local. Where
can our 320 plus YouTubers go to find it?
Good point. I'm glad you asked. You will see on my channel Meet Victoria with Caleb Shaw, and it's 67 viewers, or 67 subscribers on YouTube. On Facebook, we're doing a little bit better. I think we're over 3,000 there.
Nice.
But yeah, we're on the Instagram, the Facebook, the YouTube, and again, this is a community thing. And so, you know, for example, with Brett Baldwin's interview tomorrow, we want to hear from the community. You know, we want to hear, what do you want us to ask him? And you know, and it's neat to have the dynamic between us in the sense that we can collaborate as far as asking, you know, I pick your brain all the time and
ditto.
Yes, sir. And again, thank you for the support and thank you to Victoria for backing and watching the show. And, you know, it's been neat from the first episode when poor Steve was standing there with a whole bunch of cameras and stuff because we didn't know what we were going to do to, you know, now we've filmed and put out over 15 episodes and the growth in that. And it's honestly, we're just getting started and we're really excited for the future and what's coming. And you know, Thrive Fuel helps us out on that. And we've got some other sponsors coming and just very blessed with things.
You still get nervous?
I get nervous and I'm not going to have time to film now. You know, we're just so busy and stuff. And you know, I do get nervous, but not in the same sense like I did before. I've gotten used to hearing my own voice because I talk a lot. But no, sir, the pressure now is not the nerves. It's wanting to put out a quality product. It's wanting to, my nerves are that I want people to like it and I want people to embrace it and feel, more importantly, the people we film, and I want them to be proud of it. And I want them to feel like if they had to show somebody who they were, they want to show them our episode. And that's kind of what we're doing. It's free to everybody that we do this here, you know, and it's just something that we love. And there's a lot of good stories here.
And that's the thing. You're not taking, I mean, it's not a paid advertisement.
No,
you're
sir.
picking the topics, the subjects of, you know, if you remember Charles Carlton on the road, it reminds me of that, really, really localized.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. In Victoria, for Victoria, to, you know, to showcase what this city has to offer to the city. But I think it's got a broader appeal to people who might be looking to Victoria as well.
Well, and that was the main thing when we started this, is we didn't want it to feel like a commercial. We that was not the goal. We wanted to highlight, you know, what makes this town truly special. And it's not the businesses, it's not the products, it's the people with the businesses, and it's the people that have the products and put their heart and soul into sharing those with the community. And it's meeting these people and finding their passions and their, you know, and that's what's exciting to me is, you know, you talk about, you know, Chestnut, we'll be talking to them at some point, and you know, you find companies 100 years in business in Victoria. Well, I want to hear about that, you know, and so should the community, because that's their community, you know. And so, yeah, we've been blessed with it. Nobody would give me a show, so I just made my own, and luckily it's still there, and we're just very, very blessed and grateful that people tune in and they haven't thrown tomatoes at us or anything.
It's kind of the beauty of a little bit of the way social media and the ease of production, especially on the video side, it's gotten more affordable. The equipment that you can do these things. You used to need a production truck to follow you because your cameras had to have cables back to the recording equipment in the truck. You couldn't just take stuff on the road and get a quality broadcast. And Stephen does a great job. He produced the debate that we did with the sheriff's candidates.
Yes, sir.
With Dale Fowler and Justin Marr, and did a great job with that. Adam Sugar says he can't believe you have a show with your shirt on, Caleb.
That's this is actually another one of my ventures that I just haven't officially rolled out yet. Team Bring It Tactical. Stay tuned, Adam. I think you'll be interested in it when it does get out there. But we've again, just to button it all up, it's been a ton of fun. We couldn't do it without the support of the community, and yeah, we're very grateful. And again, stay tuned because we have a lot of exciting stuff coming up, and I think the community will like it.
I do, and it's not a shameless plug. If you haven't seen Caleb's Meet Victoria's, go to his YouTube, subscribe to it so you never miss an episode. And you can always follow him on Facebook as well.
Well, thank you. And we will have, you know, we've already discussed it. It's a matter of picking when we do it, but we will be featuring you guys on there, and because you all have a story to tell. And those are the type of things that I want out there. You know, they see you guys every day, but I don't know if I may have missed the episode where we talked about, or you talked about how this all started and all that. So, you know, stay tuned. We'll have a Wade and Carter meeting.
Well, when you've got a dead spot in your production schedule, then we'll fill it. But
there you go.
Don't have to rush that.
We'll make it work. We'll get it in there.
We'll get it in there somewhere.
Yes, sir.
But appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. I kind of had a serious point, and maybe our listeners, we'll tease it a little bit,
okay,
and we can certainly talk about it tomorrow, because I think it got me really thinking over the weekend that maybe now we're at the point, because you look at the fracture in the Republican Party and the Trumpers, the never Trumpers. And it really started a little bit with the Tea Party movement in the Republican side. But I think you're starting to see the same sort of fracture on the Democrat Party. They're holding it together maybe a little bit better, but I think it's coming. And so I think tomorrow, let's talk about this. But are we seeing the beginning of the end of the two-party system in this country?
There's been a lot more talk about it than in previous elections. And, I just realized I misread Adam's joke there. He's making fun of me saying I like to take my shirt off. Yeah. I thought he was actually complimenting my shirt, and I mistook that. So whatever.
That's all right. Let's just let you roll with it.
Yeah. If he was a smaller guy, I'd challenge him to jiu-jitsu or something. But I've been on the wrong end of that, and I know what happens. And
do you see how scared he was at the haunted house in the pictures he was posting?
I'm pretty sure Adam walked through there and scared those guys.
He hit it well, but he was the one scared. He tried to blame it on his daughter.
Yeah, that you hide behind
his daughter at the haunted house. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Adam, we all know he's a big old scaredy cat. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with that boy.
No. There's my niece Foster checking in, saying good morning. Just in time for us to say goodbye. We'll see you all tomorrow, folks.
Have a good one.
Caleb will be back on Shaw Week, and we'll be back tomorrow morning right here on Magic.
Sorry, I thought we were done already. Failed a little early.
Assumes no responsibility for its content. And the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities with their opinions and guests on their show. We appreciate your attendance. Please don't say that.
Let's go fast once we get going.
Gosh, hour.
Man, you about killed me on that dang wiener thing. I don't know why that I was having a hard time, just not coming together.
I still got this thing.
You got 2 or 3 in that one little, I forget what all you said, and I was like,